relay. And folks, give us 1 second. We're experiencing a little technical difficulty tonight. Give us 1 second, and we will be right with you guys.
Joining us right now on the phone is the man who exposed the Bigfoot hoax, Steve Kulls, private investigator and executive director of Squatchdetective.com.
The numbers of sightings, even if you take 99% of them and put them in the trash can, you turn around, you still have that 1% that can't be explained. Well, we need to explain it.
And then this thing walks across the road, makes a turn towards us. All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
And the whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us.
I still see that damn thing to this day. It wasn't 20 feet from me.
You could see it standing from the moonlight in the tree line.
I was just scanning right to left, and it reminded me of like a gorilla.
Get somebody out here. Son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, July 30th, 2023. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's going on?
Steve, man, I'm glad to be here. We're having a few issues tonight getting started, but hey, that's okay.
The problem is, for strangely, you're not on our end this time. It's just a bad internet signal for Julie, who's having trouble with some weather. Of course, yeah. I think the Mid-South has been having problems with weather for the last week or so.
Yeah, I think actually DC got a bad storm last night. I saw a video. A guy did a lot of trees down and stuff. So, you know, hopefully everybody's okay in DC.
So anyway, we got David Ellis on with us. Hello, David. How are you tonight?
Hi, Steve. Hi, Chris.
And let's see if we got Julie. Julie, are you there? Now, there may be a delay, folks. So, Julie, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey, I'm here.
Hey, and it works. Well,
yay!
Miracles.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, not your problem.
I'm
miracles. Things are out of your hands. So let me run the bios real quick. So Julie has been investigating the possibility that Sasquatch exists and has had an interest in the unknown phenomenon for the last several years. She resides in her home state of North Carolina, a.k.a. North Kakalaki, right outside of the Uwharrie Forest. She is an active field investigator and has had a 5-year-long audio recording project on her own property with the assistance of this gentleman right here, Mr. David Ellis from the Olympic Project. She is a host on Monster X Radio, On the Shoulders of Giants with Tom Steenberg, and has co-hosted a few of Max Hawthorne's Marine Mysteries podcasts. Well, welcome, Julie. I'm finally glad to have you on the old program. Now let's go over David's And David was born and lives in Washington State, has a bachelor's degree from the University of Washington. I don't want to date you, David.
Yeah.
I'll tell it. I'm 71. I don't care.
Wow.
He's married. Has children, which means he knows to have things that are broken. Retired, lives in Puget Sound area of Washington State. Has followed the Bigfoot phenomenon since 1963. Took interest in the Bigfoot field in 2006. Joined the Olympic Project with Derek Randalls in 2010. And he gravitated toward a documentation focus of study, learned to teach and track casting methods, and taught himself to record and edit field recordings, and has reviewed thousands of hours of audio using bioacoustic methods of analysis, and have collected hundreds of suspicious audio vocalization clips. Now, with that out of the way, you guys give me a lot to read sometimes.
That was bullet point too, Steve.
Usually I go into the McDonald's. Excuse me, can I get a picture menu, please? Good Lord. Well, anyway, those are the bios, folks. Let's do the run through of our roll call in the chat now that we got Julie up and running. So first in tonight, at least I can see, is Charlotte J. Welcome to the channel. Brian Barber, Daniel Weeks, Lil Ryder, Sandra Piper, Sasquatch, and the Buckwis Crew.
Buckwis Crew, cool.
Yep, they're in. Hello, welcome, guys. I've seen the Buckwis Crew in before. And it says, where can I put my fold-up chair? Near the stage. You can put it up on the stage. We don't care. Joe Dryden's in the house. Who else? Mick is here. Good old Mick Siphon. Uncle Bones number 2. We got Joe from WNYB. Another name change.
And Joe?
Another name change.
That's a cool one too.
And he said he's here for the meatloaf. Where's Mick?
Where's Mick?
Who else? Walter Kroll. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show.
Walter?
Jay Fritz in the house. B. Lynn.
Jay. Hi, B.
Scrolling. Former everything. Wade Wood. Well, a lot of our members are in the chat. Oh, Don Fuller. There he is. Don. Scott Murphy in the house. And I just went blank for a second. Grasshopper in the house. We said Low Rider. Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. Good to see you. Missed you last week. Finding the Trackway.
Trackway, yeah. Oh, the chat's really hopping, man. We started a little late too, so they got everybody got a head start on us.
Brian and Chewy go hiking. I know Chewy got hurt. I know Brian was feeling kind of down a couple of weeks ago. I hope you're feeling better, Brian. And yes, I do keep track of this stuff. Sharon's in the house. Good to see you, Sharon. Dino Crocuta Gigantea in the house. Hello. Dino. I'm just going to start calling you Dino. It's a lot easier.
Dino Croc.
Arthur Watch in the house. Good to see you, Arthur. Sharon, and we already said Sharon, didn't we? I get a double shout out tonight.
Wow, this is I'm scrolling too, bud.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
I don't know. I don't know much about how those memberships work. If you gift them a month or I'm not sure. Not sure. Corey Lekape. Welcome.
Corey.
Welcome. Angel Nolan in the house. Lekapoy. Thank you.
Angel.
Well, sometimes I need lots of luck in pronouncing a lot of the names. And Brian McMahon, good to see you.
Brian.
And I think that's everybody for now. I think we're caught up.
If we missed anybody, it ain't cause we don't love you. We sure appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for coming.
So a couple of things that make note. Last week, I think we briefly mentioned that Michael Green had passed away, a big researcher in the Uwharrie National Park down in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know if Julie knew him, but he passed away, and we did a video about his thermal video he did there way back in 2009, which kind of stands out as one of the better thermal videos we've had over the time. And even then, in 2009, thermal was in its infancy.
Right.
So imagine if he had those pictures with something like, Tactical Bigfoot Research has a really high-end thermal unit. Imagine if he was using that, the difference that would have made. But even so, even back as far back as 2009, it was quite compelling, at least in my opinion. That's right. And Bigfoot Society, who popped in the house, we call it, it's tagged way back then as the squeaky thermal. And I have no idea why. But I regress. And of course, just this past Friday, we learned that Peter Byrne, last of the Four Horsemen, passed away. And but God bless him, he was 97 years old.
Yeah, well, he made it a good long while. That's great.
And he lived life well into his 90s. So, I mean, he was still very active as of age 95, still going to the Beachfoot events up at Todd Neese's getaway there. And so again, our condolences. I know first and foremost to Todd Neese, because I know how close he was with Peter, and of course all Peter's friends and family. We want to and we lost Julie.
That's okay.
But we still got David.
Maybe got a heavy rainstorm there. Maybe cut her out for just a second.
Yeah, so,
she'll be back.
So it's been a very, David, I don't know if you had a chance to meet Peter Byrne or not.
I did, at the Beachfoot thing that Todd put together several times, had nice chats with him. But you're right, it's always a thrill to be able to talk to somebody that's been around this subject, 30 or 40 more years than you have, so that, he had a lot to say and a lot of interesting comments and a lot of interesting observation. He probably forgot more than I'll ever know. So
those guys, man, they were in Bigfooting when it wasn't cool.
Certainly. Why is it cool? Is it cool now, Chris?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool. Yeah.
I think it is personally. Yeah. I don't know about many other people. But now we're just waiting for Julie to get back. And again, we apologize. We have a ton of sound files to play tonight. And David, I don't know if you want to help us out and kind of explain some of the sound files we're going to be listening to tonight.
Well, let's do the pre-qualifier first. The assumption is that I'm going to claim that these are all Sasquatch sounds. And that could not be further from the truth. Both Julie and I agree on this, so I'm not speaking out of turn for her. But what we have recorded are interesting sounds that I have vetted visually and compared them to known creatures through the Macaulay Library of Sound. So it's not just shooting from the hip. So there's I'm not going to say there's a lot of science behind this from my personal capabilities, but I try to throw as much as I can at it. So,
and I just want to make a quick notation that we have a new member, and we like to shout those out. Walter Cole joined our YouTube channel as a member. We appreciate you, sir, and hopefully you can enjoy the content. I know I'll be going next week to We won't have a show next week, a podcast next week, because I'll be coming back from Ohio, the Hocking Hills Bigfoot conference out there, where I'll be speaking, and along with, along with Ken Gerhardt and just so many. My mind is a blank, and Cliff Barrickman and a host of others, and I'll see the great Jeffro, Captain Caveman. I'll be seeing him too. I'm seeing the event, Jeff Thomas. So it should be a real good time.
Yeah.
So hang on.
Was it Pookie and
Chip?
Chip and Pookie. Okay. But David, I appreciate you coming right out of the chute here and telling everybody. And being a straight shooter that, you're not saying definitively this is Sasquatch. You're saying more or less this are unidentified sounds that you have done the best to clear up.
I try the best to vet this. I do, hours of looking at known animals and comparing it to what I've got. And there are certain tells that other folks that are more qualified than me have taught me. And some of them I can talk about, some of them I can't. But we can pretty much determine through some various things that it is probably not a person making these vocalizations, and probably not a coyote making these vocalizations, or a wolf. And rather than, bore people to tears, why, just know that we have gone through that process.
I think we got Julie back. Julie, are you back?
Yes, I believe I am.
Okay, we do have a little bit of a delay, but it's not too awful, so we'll have to deal with it. Just remember that if you speak out of turn, you might be cutting one of us off. So,
okay.
All right, gotcha. So yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, folks. But so if you guys can bear with us, what we'll do is we'll do something entertaining while we ask Julie a question, and we'll go into delay. That's right.
Do you have the Jeopardy theme song?
or remember the dating game theme song?
Oh.
Yeah,
either one would work.
Now we're really aging ourselves here. Hey, why do? Okay, so excellent. All right, so just to let everybody know, that just came in on August 22nd. We're going to have Dr. Russ Jones on the first hour of the show. So that should be fun. But anyway, Julie, let's get to Julie. Julie, do you want to talk real quickly on what's been going on with your research and on your property? And we lost her.
Say, I was wondering if she could call you and conference call me so that we had a three-way conversation. That way she was concerned about whether she could hear me.
Hey, family show. No, I'm sorry.
This went south quick, didn't it? No.
Hey, Julie, what we're gonna do is you call David and then conference me in on my phone, and we'll just use the speakerphone on my side. How about that? And Nick said, Julie,
okay, David, you'll need to call me though, because I can't call on my cell phone. I can only call on my landline.
Okay. Let's see, the mobile 937.
Call my landline. You know the number.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
But he doesn't know my number.
Yeah, that's mobile. Call the landline.
Okay. How do we want? I don't want to reveal phone numbers here. So, Steve.
I know, because everybody in chat will start calling me.
Yeah. Well, it was a good idea, except for it's not going to work.
Well, no, it's a good idea. David, I think we're friends on Facebook, are we not? I think so.
I think.
Yeah. Because I tagged you today.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, back when I used to have the report line, the call-in number for the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky website, sometimes I would get some calls around 3 or 4 a.m. And the guys, of course, late night party, and they just call up, yeah, Bigfoot just ran out in front of my truck and stole my beer.
Atlantis Institute, does that sound familiar, David?
No.
Wrong David Ellis. Poor bastard, I tagged him today. He's like, I'm on a show tonight? Okay, so I tell you what, Julie, can you just send David my phone number real quick?
Okay.
And then we'll do it that way. Well, isn't this exciting?
I think I have a phone number. Steve, can I give the first 3 digits just to confirm?
Or the last 259?
Yes.
Yep, that's me.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, call Julie on her landline, she said, right?
So, yep. So I'm going to get her out of the studio and we'll do it that way.
Yo.
What was that?
Hi there. I got you. Now I'm going to patch in Steve.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Hopefully this will work.
All right.
Actually, you know what? We can hear her very well.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
All right.
So
all right. So I just need to.
That.
All right. Let me. Julie?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. They're saying they can hear you very well just on my phone.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good.
I think we can do this if you want to. If you, Steve, you want to chat so she can hear you.
Yeah. Well, if you want to, like I said, I'd like to know Julie's.
I'll need to hear Steve. Can you?
Yeah. So Steve,
give him the conference call.
She can't hear you because I got my headphones on.
All right. You want to then just conference me and we'll do it that way.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on. Let me.
That'll make things easier. And I'll just put her silent. I'll put my volume down so I can't really hear her too much, but she'll be able to hear me. So, well, this is always interesting. It's the first time we're trying this.
If I can get her back. Okay. Now, of course, I just. Bear with me.
That's fine.
We'll get there.
The listeners have to bear with me as well. Sorry.
Squatch-D TV. Pioneering new technologies on the fly.
Where's Bill Gates or Elon Musk when you need them?
The subscriber you have dialed is not in service. If you feel you've received this message in error,
so that's you, Steve,
and try your call again later.
Well, I'm perfectly in service. Unless you.
Well, let's try it again. Maybe I dialed an incorrect number. Let's try it again.
That might be the number you bought from Joe. Joe gave out bogus numbers. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
The money back, Joe. $250.
Why isn't it allowing me to add? I may have to add you as a contact. It keeps going back to my contact page.
Thank you, Rowdy, and Rowdy Rout's in the house too. Actually, Daniel, I did say something about it, but we're having so many technical problems that I said it pretty quick. So, but that's awesome that that Lo is giving Uncle Bones a membership. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's just been such a crazy week for Steve.
Very nice. I agree, Joe. I know you would never give out the wrong number for Steve. I appreciate it.
And yes, Joe, yeah, I know that, Joe. And you know what? If you gave my number out for $250, I'll take a 10% cut.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a moneymaker in that. No pun intended.
There you
go. Saw my phone number and I just get a 10% cut.
Jay, that's a good idea. We'll just get 3 cans and some string.
Well, this has been the entertaining first half hour, I gotta say. I did, Brian. I've been juggling so many things this week. You would not believe what I'm juggling.
I'm having fun watching the chat. You guys are tickling me to death.
Okay, so Steve, do I have you?
I think you do.
And then Julie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
We got a little bit of a delay, a little bit of an echo. Is it coming through as an echo when you're in, Steve?
So it's only going to come on as an echo on your side.
Okay.
Because
all right.
I have you guys off.
You guys are killing me.
All right. I guess we're sort of good to go.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's do this.
All right.
So let me
do this. Julie, could you please tell me about your experiences on your property?
Yes, thank you. I moved here about 6 years ago, and I'm originally from a little town not too far from here, but I moved to Ohio for some time, and I moved back down here, and I live right outside the Uwharrie Forest, and I mean, it's a long story, but to make it short, I will tell you how I got started with this audio project with David. I had been sending David other people's clips for him to analyze. And then when we moved in here, a few months afterwards, I was sitting out the fire pit and I kept hearing these strange sounds. And I was like, well, I'm going to send that to David so he can just tell me that that's coyotes and everything's good to go and there's, you know, nothing going on around here. But that isn't what happened. So I sent him a couple clips and he sent me a message back and he says, I think you have company. So that started the whole process of the audio project. He says you need to actually need to record this stuff and send me the recordings and I'll analyze everything for you, which was like wonderful that he'd spend that kind of time doing it. We have probably over 600 clips of interest from the property. Now, have I seen a Sasquatch on my property? No, I have not. I've seen some weird stuff that's happened around here. That's for another show, but I'm not sure what's making these sounds, but like David said earlier, it's just very interesting because I know the sound of a coyote. You know, I grew up practically in the woods, so I know what the sounds are. But then again, you don't just really rely on what you hear with this type of thing. You need to analyze it in a spectrogram and take a look at it too. So But anyway, that's how it all started. We've been doing it for going on 6 years now. And I have some audio clips that Steve will be playing for everybody.
Yeah, we have a ton. We have a ton of audio clips. And I'm going to try this and see if you can hear me this way. And that way it doesn't interfere with my mic. But Julie, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So I can keep the phone at a distance. See, we got this working. Because I have my volume completely down on my phone, and I have the phone away, and it's not on speaker. So I may sound a little distant, but at least you can hear me. So let's get right to the audios, because there's a ton, and that's a good thing. Because now, folks that are in chat, if you have headphones, you might want to turn them up. We're gonna play them. They sound loud to me, but then again, I'm on earbuds and headphones and stuff like that. We can hear them pretty loud. I have this cranked up in our thing. I did not alter them at all. And I know the first one is that is the long vocal, 702 long vocal.
Just crank up the volume.
Yep. And this is the 3X loop, I believe.
Yeah, I need to mention that these are most of these clips. There's maybe two of them that are just one time through. I usually do if it's a short clip, I usually do 5 times in a row. But if it's a long clip, I'll only do 3. The reason is that most people, as they're listening to it, you're trying to identify, you're trying to figure things out. You don't really catch half the stuff that's going on. So the second time through, it'll become a little more familiar. You'll start to kind of get the hang of it. By the third time, you're kind of focusing in on stuff. And the reason I do 5 times is that people really want to zero in on stuff and say, okay, I really got it now. I understand what I'm hearing. And then sometimes in the name of the file, it kind of gives away what's going on. But there may be other things that you'll catch. You may catch a wood knock. And that might not be in the title, but it's there. And yes, you do hear one. So I just want to forewarn people that might happen. You might hear something that you weren't expecting to hear.
Okay. And if we need to play, you know what I'm going to do is I'll play this twice in a row, just so, and I will announce the second time I'm playing it through. So this is the first time through. And I'm giving people some time to dial back their audio a bit. Very interesting. Now, can we get a little, Julie, can we get a little background on this one?
Yeah, that one, these particular vocals I have caught many times. The same type sound, an extended vocalization, and also I've caught it in short vocalization. It sounds like the same subject several times that I have caught. And there's the next one we're going to play. I believe there are 2 subjects, and I think one of them is the same one that you're hearing in this first clip.
Yeah.
So you'll hear, I don't know, it's just this really long howl type sound, and there's a couple more clips that we'll play that I'll point out, but it sounds like the same subject, or at least the same type of subject making these vocalizations.
So there is a tell, I kind of call it a tell, but a marker in this that is a tip off of what's going on that makes it suspicious. And for those that don't know, Monongahela, a crypto-linguist, has come up with of this observation, and that coyotes have a real rough time with a ooh to ah transition. They don't typically do that. This vocalizer had a great ooh to ah transition. So it starts out ooh ah. So that is one of the markers that we look for, and within that transition is kind of another marker that Devin wants to keep kind of quiet, because we can tell that it's also not a human being or a human vocalizing.
And this one is going to be the back and forth vocal. And it's also on a 3X loop. And Chris, I will have you handle any questions from the chat from this point going forward, because I'm working the board here.
Okay, babe, go ahead.
All right, so here we go. Back and forth vocal. Very interesting. And I hear that response, that
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you catch the wood knock?
Let's play that again. I
didn't
catch it. Now I'll listen for it.
Right there.
Okay, so that was waxwork. Actually, that was actually a tree knock.
Yes. Well,
Interesting.
percussive. I call them percussive sounds because we don't really know that it's a tree knock. Some knocks are rock knocks. Some are rock on wood. Some are tree trunks on tree trunks. So wood knock is kind of a euphemism for what I call a percussive sound.
Now, Julie, did you hear those live, or was those just recordings that you had set out there?
Uh-oh.
What'd you say, Steve? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Now, were those the back and forth one? Were you there live to hear that, or was that something that was just recorded on your property and remotely or randomly?
Let's see. That one, I was outside the fire pit. A lot of these, I was sitting out there by myself late at night in the dark, and all of these sounds are coming around. The weird stuff is it always starts from where I'm sitting at my fire pit. It always starts to my southeast, these sounds, and then they travel. They go from the southeast and then to the south, then over to the west of where I'm at, then up to the north, northwest, and then it trails off over to the southeast. So it makes this great big circle. Whatever's making these sounds is mobile, and it's moving the perimeter of my property from southeast all the way up to then back to northeast.
Gotcha. I'm just trying. Now, how close do you live to the Uwharrie National Park?
Steve, I can hardly hear you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Let me just move this over here. How far do you live to the national park?
Oh, I'd say about maybe 5 miles.
So you're very close.
Yeah, and when you were talking about Mike Green earlier, I knew Mike Green, and actually last winter, I was with him over in the Uwharrie, and his van has so many cameras sticking out of the actual van in all kinds of different directions. You should have seen his van. It was insane, all the stuff that he had in there.
I actually saw a news article with those.
Recording devices. You know, he had his laptop in there, looking at everything. Quite the arrangement that he had. And where he recorded the squeaky video, you know, of the subject that came up the side of the hill and took the Zagnut candy bar, that particular spot is like 7 miles from my back door.
That's quite unnerving.
Yeah.
All right, so let's play this vocal followed by howl, and I just double checked it. So let's listen to that one. Okay.
Wow.
So
never heard anything like that.
The vocal that I identified in that, it's hard to tell listening to this over the internet, but it does sound like there are some vowels and consonants in that it's trying to say something. That's why I say a vocal rather than a scream.
Now, this is the one that's got my curious. Now, folks, I haven't heard these yet. What is that sound before the... Yep. Go ahead.
Joe wants to know what's that sound before the high pitch?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the vocalization. It sounds like it's trying to say something using vowels and consonants.
Yeah. That very beginning part of it, it's like, I have no clue what that is.
I think
Brian, it's really unusual.
Brian Barber had a comment earlier. Said, does that maybe have to do with because in the mouth and lips shaped for vowels? I think he was talking about some of the tricks you use for determining if this is a canine or something else.
Well, you know you're really in trouble when it starts to roll its R's. I can't even roll my R's.
There does seem to be some lingual dexterity to it. Maybe that's about as far as I can go.
Thank you, Daniel.
You know, and it may be stretching to say that they are vowels and consonants, but.
So the next one really has got my interest peaked, and that is the singing audio. So, Julie, you want to explain that one? I don't think she heard me. Julie, can you hear me?
Julie, you there?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Yes, the next one, the singing, that I have caught several times, and I mean, it's just, I don't know what it is. It just sounds like, you know, something is, I can't really call it singing as we know it, but
it's carrying a
like
note.
a melody almost. Like something is, and I think what it is it's calling out to another subject in a way that, you know, whatever's making these sounds, it's in a way that probably means something to them. But I've caught it several times. I've caught long versions of it. I've caught it at the same time when the train whistle's going. I've caught it right after that long vocal sound that we heard at the very beginning, the very first one. I catch it a lot intermixed with that type of vocal.
What's interesting about this is that what we've captured at Julie's is that in 4 or 5 other locations across North America, this type of vocalization has been recorded. So this is not a one-off. This is something that happens. We just don't know what the reason why. But it is singing is definitely a category of a suspicious sound that I am following.
Okay, so let's give it a listen. Fascinating. Yeah. Now, I got to ask Julie this too, is I know listening to a recording, it sounds a lot different than what it sounds like in reality. Can you try to expand on it?
I can't hear you very well, but I think you asked me about what it sounds like if I'm sitting out there and hear it.
Yeah, versus the recording.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the main difference with this particular one, it echoes quite a bit. It reverberates off of, I live not far from the Uwharrie Mountains, and there's a ridge line that runs along not far from my property, and it runs east to west there, and this particular one always seems to bounce back the most from that ridge line, if that makes sense. It's one that almost echoes itself. It's so high pitched, it just sounds like it's echoing.
Well, Rowdy has a question. He said, do you guys think the Sasquatches are singing or just yelling back and forth to each other? He said it almost sounds like it's a cadence of some sort.
Yeah, well, the reason I call it singing is that it sustains what sounds like a note. So, yeah. This is kind of a rough or crude observation. I'm not a scientist. I have just observed, and this particular sounding vocalization, be it singing or just yelling back and forth in a particular way, seems to be a thing, if I can call it that. But it's
been being repeated.
Yes. Not the same notes, but if you were to hear from other locations, what I call singing, you would go, oh, I see why he says it fits in this category. I mean, it's the same tonality, the same kind of echoing that Julie talked about, and it sustains. And it undulates. So where the long call vocalization is a sustained note or a sustained sound, it doesn't typically undulate like this singing does.
And we had a question earlier. I'd missed it, but it's still relevant. Siberia visitor wanted to know, were these sounds recorded on with a parabolic device?
Julie.
Yeah, I believe it was just a parabolic.
I'm sorry, what's that?
So they want to know if you recorded on a parabolic.
No, these are actually recorded on a Sony digital recorder, and I've utilized the parabolic before, but the majority of these are, you know, I'm just like kind of like sitting out the fire pit, and it's not like this happens every time I'm out there or anything. It happens less time than it does. Let's just say that. But a lot of times I'll be out there and I'll just have the recorder going. Then if I'm out there and I come in, I leave the recorder going, whether I'm out there or not. I usually leave it out there around 8 p.m. throughout the night. But it's just a digital recorder that I set on my balcony, out facing west.
I found that using the mics that are on the digital recorder are omnidirectional, so they pick up sound at 360. Whereas when you're using a bionic dish, the focus is within a 90-degree variant going forward, whichever direction you have the dish pointed. So I have the capability of enhancing the sounds we want to hear and decreasing sounds we don't want to hear through software that I edit in a spectrogram where you see the sound print and are able to make enhancements and whatnot. So if a call is really faint, I can bring it forward to the point where we can hear it and make a judgment on it.
We had a question from Brian, and I think he was listening to this clip. In your opinion, I guess it would say, is that the same individual or one answering when it hears the tune? More than one individual, maybe?
Julie, did you hear the question?
No, I can only hear it, Steve and you.
Yeah, Steve, you have.
Go ahead, Steve. You might have to read them off.
Okay, from Brian Barber. Now, mind you, I'm getting a very bad echo, so it's affecting the way I speak. So, is it the same individual or one answering when it hears the tune?
And say that again. Is it the same individual?
Yeah, they're wondering if it's two individuals or the same individual. And to be honest, I'd have to look at the file visually to answer that question accurately.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that one, David, it did show that there's two individuals.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the one was still going on when the secondary sound came in.
All right, so the next video audio we have again, I'm having a terrible feedback problem with your phone.
Oh.
So,
all right. Well, I got another one got one for David here. Finding the trackway wants to know, which frequencies do the vocals peak?
I'm not sure that they all vary, but if you're wondering if there's a sweet spot, it's usually in the 645 to 745 through 50 hertz. Sometimes in singing it can go higher, but that's about the range that we're looking. Coyotes typically are a little bit higher in their resonance in hertz.
And you guys in the chat, if you got a question, please just type it in all caps. That way I can, because the chat
Julie,
is
can you hear
hopping.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so the singing voice, which was the next one on the list, I can't find it on Google, and I can't find it in the downloads. So we're going to skip over that one. The train we didn't want to use was the clock. So the next one, I guess, is the barking voice. We're going to find which barking voice was this to.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Steve. You may have to go to your microphone.
I think
bud.
David would probably be best.
I'm sorry. I muted myself. So the singing voice, I'm just going to go like this for a minute. The singing voice, we don't have, I don't know where it is in the downloads. I looked over the downloads, couldn't find them. I know the train one we wanted to scratch because the audio quality was questionable. So the next one up we have is the barking voice. So if Julie, you want to talk about we have the barking voice 1, 2, and 3 up next. So if you want to talk about the barking voices, and David, you want to do some follow up on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I think David would be best to answer the question on this because he's studied this quite a bit. What's deemed a barking voice?
Well, typically where this is going is that there's a lot of dogs in just about every location that we record in. And sometimes there's an extraordinary amount of dogs. You wonder, what the hell we got kennels nearby, or what's going on? But some of the vocalizations I question, and this was one of them. Maybe it's a dog, maybe it's not. But there were some qualifiers, and to be honest, I haven't reviewed this one lately, but when I originally looked at it, I had some questions. So it's just an interesting.
Yeah. Mick had a question. Was that last recording taken during rutting season for deer or elk?
I don't think so.
Are there elk in North Carolina?
Julie, I didn't catch that either. Steve, you want to repeat that?
Are there elk in North Carolina?
Are there what in North Carolina?
Elk.
No, we don't have any elk.
I didn't think so.
So just deer. Well, they make sounds in rut. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to eliminate one of them. I think that would be okay. So let's play the barking voices. We'll start with the barking voice number 1 on a 3. All of these are on a barking 1 and 2 are on a 3x loop. Barking 3 is on a 5x loop. So let's give it a listen to barking 1. Okay, and of course, barking 3 is taking its time. Okay, there we have it. Yeah, if it was me, I would definitely say that sounds canine to me. Just in intonation.
Yes, it does. I'm not going to argue that it doesn't sound canine. It's the cadence that we're. And again, I look at these visually, your ears can be fooled. So you really need to be, before you can be super critical, you need to look at the markers that I'm looking at, and then what obvious dog markers look like compared to what these look like. There are some differences. I'm just saying that not necessarily throw all of them out. And just think about the reasons of strategy. If you were trying to communicate, wouldn't it be nice to be able to blend in the woods, but still have kind of a marker between, from one Sasquatch to another? I know who you are. I know who you sound like. But for us, oh, that's a dog.
Yeah, that clip was a little weak too. I mean, on most of the others, when I turn my headphones up, they're blowing me out. But
there was something in there with the barking, and that is very common. I know there's been plenty of times that I've been in the woods and I've heard a howl that was not coyote-like, followed up by coyotes reacting to that howl.
Right.
And that seems very common.
Yep.
Yeah.
So please excuse me if I take my earbuds out for a second, because it's easier for me to speak without the reverb going on.
And I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. There are dogs in that. I'm not saying there aren't dogs. Right. I'm just saying, like you just said, Steve, there's an oddball in there. And
right. And I picked up a little bit on that oddball. Most of it sounded canine, but there's something in there that just doesn't go with the pack, I should say.
Yes.
So the next one we got is going to be, and is the A Lot Going On Here audio clip. So Julie, you want to give us the rundown on the A Lot Going On Here audio clip?
Yes, this is another one of those. You scratch your head and you're like, "What the hell is going on out there?" It's just like, you don't even know what to call it after a while. You're like, okay, well, there's a lot going on here. And as far as like when you're looking at it in the spectrogram, it's all over the place. There's vocal on top of vocal on top of vocal a lot of times. It's just weird. So this one, we just called A Lot Going On Here because really there was a lot going on there.
Well, there's a lot of knowns going on here. And something seems to have stirred all the knowns. So you're going to hear a lot of stuff that you recognize. But again, something weird kind of creeps in there. And so, which I was able to identify visually. So, yes, you will hear a lot of things that do exist, including, I don't know, is the donkey on this one too, Julie? Julie? I don't know if we got Julie. Julie, are you there? I may have lost her.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to find.
Turn on your mic, Steve. You're still muted, buddy. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm working so many different things.
I understand.
I'm trying to find the vocal here, and I can't find that one either now.
It's all right, buddy.
I know I've downloaded it, but the way the board puts them on there is not the way, and the way these are written are not, because there's a lot of numbers in front of it. So I'm trying to.
Can I unmute your mic when it needs to be? I'm not sure I can do that. I'll try it next time. We'll see. Because I know you're doing 58 things at the same time.
Well, let's play the audio here. Wow.
What the heck was that?
A lot going on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no doubt there is something in there that is not canine.
Yeah. Yeah. Rowdy wants to know, said, these recordings are taken in your backyard, Julie? Well, Julie's not here.
I can answer that. Yes, they are. She has a fire pit that she goes out and sits and listens and records.
Well, I'll tell you what, next time I'm in the area of North Kakalaki, I'm going to go visit her.
That would be a good idea.
I mean, that is some really.
Could you play that last one again, Steve? Can you bring it back up? I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
I gotta say too that that there you can hear there are some deep growls going on between the barks too, before you get that really loud one.
Yeah.
And Mick wanted to know if he said that there's quite a bit of loss in audio quality in the forum here. Can we stream them directly from a website? Do you have those uploaded somewhere that
No.
anybody can listen to them? Okay. Sorry, Mick. Just put your when you listen to the show again, put your headphones on and turn the volume wide open. Honestly, with headphones, some of this stuff is just blowing my ears out. But now, the last clip we did, it sounded like a lot of dogs barking with some other stuff in there. That was kind of low, but the rest of them just been blowing my ears out.
Yes, I gotta try something. Julie, are you there?
I may have to try to relink everybody because is that okay? We're gonna try that again. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect you, Steve.
Okay.
I agree, Joe. That last one was awesome. I don't know what that big "ooh" was, but man, it's something out of the ordinary for sure. I never heard nothing like that.
Julie, are you there? Come in, Julie.
I'm calling her right now, Steve.
She just sent me a text that she's in the studio, but.
Hello.
Hi there, it's me.
He wants to know if these vocals are recorded at night.
Okay, so expecting. David, you're relinking with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Steve, you there?
I am here.
Okay. Julie, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Julie's there. Okay. I think we're relaying.
So we were talking about the barking voices. My goodness, I don't know if you were hearing that live, but even we caught that pretty loud and clear on this end. What was going on there?
Could you hear that, Julie?
Yes. Did you play
a lot going on. We just played.
Okay, did you play a lot going on?
Yes.
Okay, see, I missed that. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so there was some questions about the growls and how close were they? I don't know if you were there. Were you when this was recorded?
I don't think think I was on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is probably, a lot of this stuff happens usually 1:30 to 3:30 in the morning. You know, some things may happen before that time frame, and some things may happen after that time frame, but a majority of the stuff, like 1:30 to 3:30, and I'm already in bed. You know, normally when I set out the fire pit, the latest I'd set out there by myself would be maybe like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'd hear some things, but a lot of these things I've caught were after I came in.
Julie, didn't you notice a pattern with the barking dogs that they would kind of start like maybe at your northeast, working the way to east and then southeast and then south and then southwest? I mean, it was like a circle kind of around your house, and you knew that something was going on by the activity of the dogs.
Yes, you're right. It would be like dead quiet, and then all of a sudden you'd hear a group of dogs start going off, you know, and then that one would eventually hush down, and then you'd hear another one, and it was going around from southeast over and around up to the northeast. Every group of dogs would start acting like insane, barking right before this stuff would take off. I can tell you that if nothing is happening that night, I will almost know it in advance because the dogs are dead quiet. And I get absolutely nothing on the recorder except for a dog barking every once in a while, you know, throughout the night. But if the dogs aren't going off, you're probably not going to hear anything.
So I do have a couple of questions. So Julie, where is your nearest neighbor? How far is your nearest neighbor? And if they're close by, what the hell are they thinking?
Buckle up.
Behind our property, the people had just moved in there back in November, but prior to that, it was there was nobody there for, gosh, I want to say over 2 years. It was vacant back there. And I have talked to some of my neighbors, and I've had a guy that's about a mile away from me going south who I was talking to one day about, you know, have you heard anything weird going on around here? And he's like, well, yeah. And he started explaining to me that him and his wife were out on their back deck, and they heard this god-awful howling and growling going on, and he said it freaked him out so much that he went and got his gun and came back out and sat on the porch because he had never heard anything like that. And he said it sounded like a damn elephant was going through the woods back there. And then I said, have you guys ever had anything thrown at you or anything? And they looked at each other, and his wife. Well, it's funny you should say that because we've heard rocks hitting our tin roof many times because they know it's rocks because they'll go out the next morning and there's all these pieces of quartz laying there that, you know, for whatever reason, someone or something was throwing the rocks onto their house, and they can hear them bing, bing, you know, and then rolling off. He said for the longest time he couldn't figure out what in the hell was going on, but when I told him that, he's like, "Oh, don't tell me that."
Now, can I give you I'm going to give you a little insight to that. Is that I heard a video many, many years ago from a researcher down in Oklahoma, and he had a couple of cylinders, little campfire cylinders in his back of his truck. And he was a researcher, and he had the propensity to basically black out his cab. He would put all this kind of thing around his cab, and he was doing, at the time, he was doing audio recordings. This is before the advent of cheap thermal imaging and stuff like that. I mean, thermal imaging at the time would be a couple of grand. And he actually lost one of his cylinders to one of these creatures because he could see it out of his side view mirror that he had, so he could see the mirrors. and there was a big shadow coming in back, and you can feel his truck moving a bit. And on the audio, you hear it rummaging through the truck. And then the next thing you know, you hear off in the distance these two propane cylinders banging together. Bing, bing, bing. So I really think that the sound of the metal being hit is kind of a curiosity to them almost. And that they're doing it that, wow, this is pretty cool sound. Oh, bang. Oh, this is fun. Bang, bang again. Primates needing that mind stimulation. So
that's very interesting.
Yeah. Brian Barber has a question too as well. Has there been any visuals with any of these tracks? The Rocks is awesome. I mean, have any of your neighbors seen anything? Shadows, anything like that?
Julie, did you hear the question? I'm not sure if Julie's there. We may have lost Julie again.
I think we did.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay. So the question is, have the neighbors had any visuals, any footprints in the area that you are aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. They haven't had any visuals. I can tell you that the lady who used to own my property lives across the road from me. And after I moved in here and all this weird stuff was happening, I kind of approached the subject with her, and she's like, I really didn't sit out much past 9 o'clock because this is a working farm. And before we moved in, it was vacant for about a year. And she said, they were in bed by 9, 10 o'clock and up at 5 and 6 in the morning. So she goes, I really didn't spend a lot of time out past dark. But the times that I did, I heard some really, really weird stuff out there. And then she said something about one time she was sitting out there in one of the trees to the north. I'd probably say 300, maybe 200 yards up or something. She said she kept hearing these sounds and then these little red dots up in the tree, almost like an eye shine up in the tree, and she couldn't figure out what the hell that was. And I was like, okay.
Well, we know what it was.
That's not reassuring. But yeah, she did say there was some weird stuff that happened, and her horse got attacked one time, and this horse literally got an infection from the scrapes that went down in the front of its neck all the way down to around and on its side, and that horse died from an infection from that scratch. And she said, we couldn't figure it out because there are no mountain lions here. She said she never could figure out what that was, but her horse got destroyed by something out there.
All right, setting up the next audio bit is the one that says, "Oh my, that's a big boy."
Ooh, let me tell you about that one. That's a good one. What happened was I was sitting outside, and the dogs were barking and, making all this sounds, and I'm just sitting there, and then they finally hushed up, and about 5 minutes later, this happened. And I was stunned because it was to my west. It was fairly close. I couldn't see anything, but it was fairly close. But it sounded like something was mocking the sound of the dogs, the way they were acting right before this happened. So, that's the best way I can describe it.
That's a My Cousin Vinny moment. Are you mocking me? Okay, so let's give this one a listen. Here we go. And of course, for folks that don't know, this is the first time I'm listening to a lot of these because it's been, like I said, the week has been phenomenally. And then, of course, what did I do? I got up late today. because I took a little nap because I've been working very early in the morning. But here we go. Wow. That
kind of
is-
stuff.
Was that Chris?
I said that's different. I hadn't heard that. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, that was very deep too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very creepy to hear in real life because.
I don't know what to say to that one except, wow, if I heard that, that would be like, that's...
Well, here's what's interesting. I've had several people that I've worked with across North America, and I'd say that there's like 4 or 5 other locations where I've recorded something with that deep baritone quality to the voice structure, which makes me wonder, are we dealing with an alpha scenario?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I've been in forests from coast to coast. I've been to Oregon, to North Carolina, and I have heard a lot of animals in the forests, and all different types. And I've never heard that one.
Yeah, that's new on me. That's cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy moment because it was just so resoundingly deep. I knew it wasn't a dog. I mean, I know all the dogs, the sounds they make, and I have never heard a dog that deep.
No, that was very unique. Okay, we have the next one up, and I'm looking at time and looking. We still have 9 more clips to play yet.
We have to get to the end too, because the end is the icing on the cake. So we got to make sure we get that one.
I kind of figured you were putting these in order of the more impressive ones, because as we're getting through this, we're getting to the more and more impressive ones. And not listening to them, I am, not hearing them before. I think I purposely did that too, is because I want the audience to catch my reaction and my gut reaction to a lot of these. And I'm like, wow. Okay, so next one up is the descending vocal. Let me find this one.
What was that last one called, Steve?
Oh my, that's a big boy.
Oh my, that's a big one. Okay. I'm putting a
There it
little.
is. All right, so here we go. This one is Julie. You want to describe this one first? Julie, can you describe the descending vocal?
I would say just play it first, and then I'll add a couple things.
Okay,
sounds good.
Okay, I played it.
Okay, sorry. I'll tell you. You wouldn't believe what I'm doing here. I'm watching you guys on YouTube, and I'm having to mute this and press that. But anyway, that particular sound I've caught many times, and like David can explain to you why he put it in the descending vocal category.
Well, the vocalization starts high and ends low. And that's an atypical. Usually it starts low and goes high. But it is just one of those suspicious types of vocalizations that we keep our eye on. And Julie recorded it, so we think it's a significant.
Okay, let's do the next two in order. It's the undulating vocal 1 and undulating vocal number 2. So we'll play those two in succession, and we'll have you talk about those.
Okay.
Actually, I think that's the same recording, 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I'm not sure what the mix-up is there, but those
probably on my download end. I probably, as I'm going through downloading, because you can't mass download all of them,
right?
And, you know, because unless they're put in unless like a Dropbox or a Google Cloud or a cloud,
sure,
I can't group them and throw them
gotcha.
one at a time. So one may have gotten overstamped out of the other one, but anyway.
Gotcha.
That's kind of weird because I'm hearing something familiar in there, and then I'm hearing something completely
right. The
weird.
very high pitched one is very familiar to me.
Yeah,
but that other
right,
you know, the lower pitched one seems to be the more bizarre one. David, your thoughts?
It's similar to singing, but visually, it was just a down up down vocalization that is odd. You don't typically see that, so it just goes into the suspicious category. I don't know what it is. I can't make claims that it's a Sasquatch. It just is something I can't find a match for. So it's just in the suspicious pile.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you, to me, there was two particular sounds in that clip. The very high pitched one that was going on at the same time. Now I've heard that numbers of times up here, even in the Northeast. Just that.
Wow.
But
let me mention this about that sound. There's actually, I think there were 6 total that night that I had recorded, and there were 3 of us sitting at the fire pit when this started, and you can hear somebody talking. That's my friend Mike.
Yeah.
These sounds started to our west, and over the course of about 15 minutes, we could hear it, and then went, you know, from our west to the north, and then you could hear it over to the northeast. It was probably, I can't really guess how far away, you know, it's hard sometimes to tell with the ridge thing over there, but I would say it was probably a good 400 or 500 yards away.
So my knowledge of what that high pitch is just kicked in. That high pitch, now there's 2 voices going on in there, I believe. There's a low pitch and there's a high pitch.
Yeah.
And they're going on almost simultaneously. The high pitch is an eastern screech owl. I've recorded that before. And the interesting thing about that is there was a howl going on the New York State side. I was in Vermont, and this thing would, ooh, and then the owl would respond with a high, the high screech. This seems like it was kicking off the minute it would howl, it would start to banter back.
Interesting.
So just so you know, but that high pitched eastern screech owl.
Yeah, I think there's two things going on in that clip. Yeah, one of them it's familiar, and the other one is something weird.
And in fact, I talk about that in one of my presentations. I actually play that audio in my presentations because you hear this lower pitched voice, and whatever it is, the eastern screech owl is reacting to it. So I think that's what may be going on in this particular process. So that's my 2 cents.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it took me a second. Oh, that's the eastern screech owl. That sounds just like what I recorded on the Vermont side, but on the New York side, that was causing it to go off was something completely different, and it's very, very bizarre. Maybe there's something in the frequency of the Sasquatch owl, or a potential Sasquatch owl, or this particular vocal that is causing that screech owl to react.
I think that's an action reaction
that makes
combination there. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Now I want it. This one's called the campfire scream. So you want me to play that one first, or you want to talk about it first?
Well, I can tell you that I was outside when this happened, and I was by myself, and it was coming from my east. And this was so close to me that I felt it vibrating through my chest. It was horrifying because I was by myself. My husband was in Ohio, and I thought I was going to die. It was the most bizarre thing. It's pitch black, and all of a sudden it's quiet, and all of a sudden this rips off to my right.
Okay, so let's play this one. Let's listen. Let's listen to this one. This is the campfire scream. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, the thing that doesn't translate well, listening to it on the internet and the recording, is the volume that Julie mentioned, but needs to be reemphasized, is that she felt this call. It penetrated her. You didn't just hear it, you felt it.
Right. Yeah, that was a little too close for comfort. That scared me. I'll be honest with you, that scared me.
And very common. Common people who have these vocal experiences as well is the fact that they feel them when they're close by. I mean, they feel them in their chest, the vibration or the vibration.
Yeah.
I tell you, it gave me goosies. You know what I mean? When I say that, like it was almost like a static electricity was in the air surrounding me.
Okay, so the next one we have up is the odd vocals, and you made the mention of Wookie.
Yeah.
Wookie.
That, Julie, you want me to speak to that for just a quick sec?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm also have been working with another witness here in Washington that had an anomaly type vocalizer coming through. And it had a certain way of sounding, and so the tenor of this is identical to what we were recording in Washington, and she called it her Wookiee voice. So that was just an acknowledgement that what we recorded here in Washington was making a similar type vocalization in Julie's area.
Okay, and this one is repeated 5 times. So here we go. Yeah, that one's again that downturn instead of an upturn, like a dog.
Now, again, we're just listening to this, so we're only getting about 30% of the information. If you were to see the visual in a spectrogram, you would see, you would get a lot more out of this particular vocalization. Because when I would compare it to what we recorded here in Washington, it was an identical match as far as the where it was resonating and the tenor and the tonality of the voice. So there, and it's hard to come across like you know what you're talking about in podcasts like situations like this, but trust me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Dave, you're in Washington, and Julie's in North Carolina, and we
right.
Rowdy keeps asking Dave, "Have you been to the area and heard any vocals? If so, what did you?" I don't think.
No,
Dave's
I'm
been
sorry,
there.
I have not. I've had the pleasure of reviewing everything that Julie has sent me, and I have the capability of comparing it to everything that I record around the state of Washington. Plus, I get sent a ton of recordings from all across North America. So I will be coming up with different categories that I have found interesting that are being heard and recorded across North America. And I'll be sharing that information soon.
And David, what I'm going to do is, if you don't mind, I'm going to send you the one that I had, the exchange I had in Vermont.
Oh yeah, love to.
I'll send you that one. That way you can.
Sure.
Because I used what I did was because they weren't on top of each other like that last one. What I did was I isolated each one and I ran them through BirdNet. And BirdNet immediately identified the eastern screech owl almost at like 99% of that high-pitched one.
Cool.
And then the other one came back like a 30% hit of some owl that exists in India. So I knew that was completely not the right bird, and it, in other words, it couldn't identify it accurately.
Yeah.
So I use that. I don't know if you use the Cornell University bird.
Yeah, Macaulay. I don't know if you caught that earlier. I used the Macaulay Library of Sound, going through their files. But you've got 10,000 files. You can't go through all of them, and most of the time you're hitting. Let's pick barred owl. Well, you're going to get 10,000 vocalizations of the "Who Cooks for You" kind of, and you go, wait a minute, I know they make more sounds. Where are those? So,
I mean, have you ever heard the barred owls mating?
I've heard the monkey chatter. If that's it,
that's their mating. Yeah. And I remember the first time I ever heard that, and my son is a forest ranger. And I was out there with him, and he comes along with me every once in a while, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell is that? He goes, oh, that's a barred owl. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and they can get really loud.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it.
I can blow you out of your camp chair loud.
I remember this one particular incident where we were gone dark, and I saw this big, huge thing kind of come down and right up, and we're like, holy crap. And they're big birds. They have a big wingspan. And he buzzed me, and then he went up in a tree above me. And then all of a sudden he did a "Who Cooks for You?" And it was like,
yeah,
looking up at him, you loud SOB. So the next one we have is the compiled long voices video. So Julie wants to talk about the compiled long voices video audio.
Yeah, this is several clips back to back, and they're all repeated 3 times. And it's just an example of some of the long vocals that I recorded over time. These are from different years, different times, but they're all from here, and it's just an example of some of the stuff we've caught.
And I gotta say, I'm really chomping at the bit to see the last one, to hear the last
Oh boy,
that one and just the name of it. I'm like, okay, this one's gonna be the grand finale, but this one is the compiled long voices. Here we go. I just wanted to say that last one sounded like the Sonoma screams almost. Some very fascinating stuff. I mean, that next to last one sounded so much like the Sonoma screams.
Are you saying the Sierra?
Maybe the Sierra screams. It was had that same like almost level, almost just
Sure.
not as loud.
Yeah. I'm getting the siren type. Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of reverb in that. A lot.
Yeah, we got 12 minutes and 3 more to go.
Okay.
So we're rolling. Percussive voice, weird vocal. You want to try on the percussive voice, weird vocal? You want to kind of throw that one out there, Julie?
Yes. This one, I was outside and heard this. And the very beginning of it is confusing to me because I can't tell if it's a percussive vocalization or if it's percussive, like object on object. But it's definitely some weird stuff going on. And this is one of my favorite clips, actually.
Okay, here we go.
there you have it. Well, let's have David. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay,
David,
so there's not enough time to go through my spiel on percussive voice, but it is a sound that I've been following. It's huffs and grunts and tongue clicks, I believe, mouth pops, and it comes in the form of a speech pattern. I'm just going to leave it there because we don't have enough time. But that's what you're hearing at the beginning of this recording. And then it does a vocalization, which is very strange.
Yeah, that one's really creepy.
Yeah, you're going to have to take over. I'm having a little technical difficulty right now. Oh, okay. All right.
You got him, Steve?
All right, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Because I'm having trouble, now that we're down to the last couple, I'm having a little trouble trying to pick them up. Because I put them in order that they were sent to me, not necessarily the order that they were here. So I'm jumping around.
Need unmute your microphone, babe. Still muted.
So you're muted, Steve.
I can hear him.
Yeah, we can, Julie, because he's on our telephone, but they can't.
Yeah, we can
Steve,
hear him on the phone a little bit, but
he's trying to find the
yeah. He's getting those last clips to bring up.
Okay, we're good to go. Sorry, what I'm dealing with, there is a lot of audio files here I'm dealing with, so it's kind of difficult to get them all done at once.
Well, Rowdy had a question for Julie. He wanted to know, Julie, how do your dogs act during all this? I don't know if Julie can hear me or not.
Do you have dogs?
Do I have a dog, you said?
Yeah, they want to know how your dogs react.
I have a dog. When we first moved here, I did not have a dog, but we've had her just a little over 2 years now, and she does alert quite a bit over on the north side of our property and the northwest. Like the first day on the fire pit, she stares and growls over to those directions and just, freaks out. And you don't hear anything, you don't see anything, but she alerts to the areas where a lot of these sounds are coming from, which I found interesting.
Okay, Odd Chatter. That one is up next.
Odd Chatter, that one is up next. So let's do that one. Okay, so that was the Odd Chatter one. Julie, that Odd Chatter one, did you hear that live, or was that another one that was caught on the recorder?
No, that was, I'm sorry, hang on. That was, I wasn't outside when that happened. That was recorded, let's see, in December of 2021. And both of these clips were very close together, and I would say maybe 10 minutes apart, if that, as far as the, when they took off. These are the two most interesting clips that I've recorded here to date, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just two very unusual, peculiar sounding vocalizers.
David, what's your thoughts
On the next one? This one is the
Odd Chatter.
The odd chatter. It's essentially a part of what we're going to hear next. Like Julie said, this was recorded 10 minutes apart, but you're hearing some odd things that I have not heard in other locations. So this is a one-off for me. I don't know what strolled through, but after listening to the next clip, I'll have a comment and you see if I'm correct.
Okay, so I want to make sure, Julie. Okay, so just so you know, here we go with the grand finale clip here. And thanks, everybody, for hanging in there tonight through our technical difficulties and running platforms we've never run before here. So we appreciate y'all's patience. And here we go with the last one. This is the Wild Stuff 5 times loop. And if we need to, we'll play it again. If we go over a few minutes, we go over a few minutes, and not an issue. Here we go.
Jurassic Park.
I have no words.
Jurassic Park.
I've heard that. That like a hyena type cackling.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, that is like a lot going on in there, and that is a lot of strange sounds that I've never heard before.
That clip can be played much louder. It didn't really come through very loud, but if you crank the volume up, that'll rattle your teeth.
Well,
and what I'll do is I'll post that one on a video file, amplified a bit for our members on our member.
That would be great, because I recorded something similar to that back in 2010, but it was so far off, and my recording device was so terrible it wouldn't pick it up. But I could hear it while it was going, and it had that cackling sound, almost like a hyena in it. And it's difficult to describe unless you can hear it. I mean,
well, again, we're not proposing that this is Sasquatch, but it's very interesting at that. I mean, other than maybe Julie's got a portal and the dinosaurs are coming through.
Well, I've heard Julie. I've heard that same. I've heard that same thing. I don't know what it is.
That sounds about like the story of my life. So
yeah. So
I love that.
Let me ask this to Julie. Julie, are you still having stuff going on now?
Yes, I'm still doing some recordings. I took a little break from it because it does get overwhelming. I got 8 to 10 hours worth of audio that I have to break down into hours, 2 hours to 1 hour time frames, and then I have to send that to David, and then it's very time consuming. And I still have probably 150 hours to go through of recording. But I took a little break. But right now, summertime is a time where it's very quiet here, and it's the temperature of the sun. And for whatever reason, whatever makes these sounds sort of disappears in July and August, and then reappears in late September. So it's almost like whatever's here is moving out for, and I would assume probably going towards Deep River, which is to my north, because it is so stinking hot here.
Yep. Now, so your activity, when does it kind of peak?
What's that?
Have you noticed it peaking any specific periods of time?
Oh, yeah. I would say early spring and then late fall here are the two most active times.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, usually the fall months are the main months, and some of the spring months as well, the early spring as well, in my area as well. It seems like they have a kerfuffle of activity during those periods of time.
And Mick just wanted to say before the show ends, thanks for sharing
I
this.
have recorded stuff throughout the year, but not near as often as it happens in the spring and fall. And I did want to say thank you for everyone listening to the show. I know it was kind of a pain in the ass, and I apologize. But
well, it was well worth the juggling stuff around to listen to these, and we thank you. It's been an honor to have these on here, and you and David as well.
Well, I appreciate it, and it was fun. I want to give a shout out to Corey and Vance. I believe they're in the chat room. Corey from Canada.
Hey, Corey.
Listening.
Now, how many acres do you live on, Julie?
Well, we've got about 10 acres here, and the Uwharrie is it's the smallest national forest in the state of North Carolina. It's actually 50,000 acres, but it's a part of over 2 million acres of forestry that spreads out both north, south, east, and west of the Uwharrie. And, because we're not around any big towns at all until to get anywhere, you have to drive like an hour to get to the next big town. Okay. So this is all just forested land. This is rural. We have just tons and tons of woods. My house is surrounded in woods, and, it's just not far from the Uwharrie. So, and I've heard this stuff over in the Uwharrie as well, and I'm a part of a research team, and they have the recordings of stuff from over there that matches what I have caught here.
Well, if you happen to look on one of your 10 acres and see a Bronco out there with a tent pitch next to it, don't be surprised, because I'd love to come down there and check it out.
Yes, I would definitely. You're welcome to come and sit by the fire pit and see what happens. I mean, I've had numerous researchers here. Adam Davies has been here, and some weird stuff has happened when people were here. So it does happen.
And speaking of Adam Davies, just remember his testimonial, folks.
When you consider great leaders of men, you often think of people like Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Winston Churchill, but in recent times, there's Steve Kulls, the Squatch Detective.
Here you go.
Adam's quite the character. We're going to get him on soon, too. But, okay, folks, we're going to wrap up here. Julie and David, thank you so much for sharing those. I am amazed. And David, I'll throw that audio at you, and you do what you want with it. I'd like to see what you
love to.
On it.
Yeah.
And Julie, again, thank you. Stay safe down there.
Yes, thank you for having us. It's been fun, and if anybody wants to have me send audio to them, they can reach me at julie.rench@yahoo.com, and I would be happy to send you all of these clips and many more. and that way you can put them in whatever device you want to listen to them, and maybe, hear them better once you get them recorded onto whatever you want to play them on.
I can be reached at olympicproject.com. My contact information is on that webpage.
And just so you know, David likes surfing, walking on beaches, and no.
That's the other guy, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
I'm friends with David Ellis on Facebook. I thought it was him, and I tagged him, and it wasn't him.
Yeah.
It's the problem when you have 5,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
But Chris, you want to do your thing?
Well, again, I want to thank David and Julie for being on tonight. And Julie, I really enjoyed these recordings. You had 2 on there that just absolutely blew me away. So thrilled and so I'm gracious that you shared that stuff. Appreciate it. I want to thank everybody in chat. Love you guys. Appreciate all the great questions. If it's the first time watching the show, hit that subscribe button. Bump the thumbs up, the like button. We need that.
Before you go, smash that thumbs up, please.
Yeah, we need it. But we appreciate you guys. As always, it's a pleasure, and we appreciate you being here with us.
And again, folks, I apologize for all the technical difficulties out there. For the membership side of things, I'll probably be doing some video this week. Of course, I'm going to Hocking Hills, the Bigfoot Festival. I'll be speaking there on Friday afternoon. Last year, they had 11,000 people tromp through. So very excited to be there. It's going to be a very busy weekend for me. I'll make sure I have some cameras rolling for our members and maybe even some for our Gen Pop here. And boy, why am I talking like prison terms? Sasquatch prison. But anyway, folks, and it looks like like I said, no show next week because I'll be probably traveling. If I do happen to get home early and do manage to pull off a show, just keep an eye out because I might be able to pull off a show quick, but I think I'm going to be pretty wiped. But anyway, because I really want to come back Sunday instead of having to leave Saturday evening and drive through the night back to New York. So, but no, I'm looking forward to seeing you all that are going to be out there at Hocking Hills. If you have a screen name and I don't know your name, just make sure you mention that to me when you say hi, because I'm old and I forget things. But folks, I want to wish everybody a happy and safe week. Thank you for all your support on the membership stuff and the super chats and all that stuff. I love you guys, and you're making it happen. You're making this thing work, and we're going to continue moving on. And there's a lot of big developments going on. I'll be talking to Chris about that in the after show. Not that I'm trying to snub you guys, but there's a lot of things going on a personal level that is going to open up this channel a little bit more. So on behalf of everybody here, I want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. God bless. And most of all, folks, keep on squatching. We'll catch you all here in 2 weeks, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern here on Squatch-D TV.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.